Hi, I'm Dr. Ling, consultant pediatrician at Thomson Hospital, Kota Damansara in Malaysia. Okay, today we'll be discussing the role of nutrition in fighting COVID infection. I've scrutinized an excellent article in the Journal of Nutrition published in July 2021. And I'll be sharing the findings here with all of you. Okay, one thing that is very evident in studies is the relationship of obesity with COVID infection. Multiple studies have shown conclusively that those with a body mass index or BMI of more than 28 have 2 to 5 times increased risk of more severe COVID, ICU admission, and death from COVID. Another consistent finding is the relationship of diabetes with COVID. Patients with type 2 diabetes has been shown consistently in many studies to be at 2 to 4 times increased risk of longer hospital stay, intubation, and higher mortality rate for COVID. This was especially so if the diabetes was not well controlled. Both obesity and diabetes are related to our nutrition that is high in refined sugars and calories. On the flip side, patients who were undernourished were also found in one study to have increased risk of severe COVID. So we do not want to go to the extremes of being obese nor undernourished. One widely studied nutrient in relation to COVID is vitamin D. During pre-COVID times, vitamin D intake, particularly in those who were deficient, has already been shown to reduce risk of acute respiratory infection when taken regularly. However, there were conflicting findings regarding effectiveness of vitamin D in other studies as well. With regard to COVID, one study started patients infected with COVID using vitamin D, magnesium, and vitamin B12 and continued until signs of deterioration. It was found that those in the treatment group had 3 times reduced risk of needing oxygen or admission to ICU. Another study found there was increased risk of being COVID positive and being admitted to hospital by 2.5 times for those whose vitamin D levels was below normal, that is below 50 nanomoles per liter. However, there was no increased risk of death. However, another large study in UK found no significant association between vitamin D levels and COVID. Another nutrient studied is zinc. Previous studies in zinc had shown it was able to reduce duration of common cold symptoms by 1.65 days. With regard to zinc supplement in COVID patients, we had only one paper. This study showed that giving zinc sulfate to patients admitted for COVID was able to increase frequency of being discharged home and had reduced risk of mortality. Okay, next we look at one favorite vitamin, that is vitamin C. On the Cochrane review, which is a trusted evidence-based review, found that taking supplements of vitamin C of more than 200 milligrams per day did not reduce incidence of the common cold. In another study, regular vitamin C at 1000 milligrams daily reduced durations of common cold by a modest 8%. But several trials that used vitamin C at the onset of infection did not alter the course of illness. So based on these studies, we need to take vitamin C on a regular basis instead of starting only when we fall ill. Then there were studies on those involved in extreme sports such as marathon and skiing, as well as soldiers, which found regular high doses of vitamin C did reduce incidence of common cold by as much as 50%. Another Cochrane study in vitamin C in prevention and treatment of lung infection found low quality evidence and could not make any conclusions from those studies. Unfortunately, there were no acceptable studies on effects of vitamin C on COVID infection. Okay, other nutrients searched include vitamin A, selenium, polyunsaturated fatty acid, and antioxidants, but no significant research could be found with regard to these nutrients and their relation with COVID. Okay, so what conclusions can we draw from this? As doctors, we do not just look at the results of the studies, but also the quality of the studies and how they were conducted. Preferably, we would want to see prospective randomized controlled trials. We would also like to see the same outcome reproduced in different trials and not just base our conclusions on a single study. Most of the studies, like those for vitamin D and zinc in COVID, were retrospective, case-controlled or observational studies and not prospective studies. And in one prospective study, the number of subjects were really small. There were also conflicting results from different studies. So we need to consider these results wisely before making any recommendations. But one thing's for sure, obesity and diabetes are big risk factors for severe COVID. So what we must do is to eat healthily, reduce refined sugars and calories to maintain a healthy weight. And if we are diabetic, we must ensure excellent blood sugar control. We must also eat, firstly, fresh, secondly, good variety, and thirdly, whole unprocessed food to ensure we have all the necessary vitamins and minerals for optimal body function. Having too little, and we come down with illness. But taking mega doses of vitamins such as that for vitamin C will not make it more effective. So just take the right amounts. The biggest sources of vitamins and minerals are from fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, legumes, and whole grain. So eat lots of these. Fish and egg are also great sources of protein, good fat, and vitamin D. Ideally, we want to derive our nutrients from natural foods as the nutrients are taken up by our body most efficiently. However, for some nutrients like vitamin D, between 25 to 50% of Malaysians are found to have insufficient vitamin D levels. The level required is about 50 nanomoles per liter. Obtaining vitamin D from the diet is not easy as foods do not contain much vitamin D unless they are fortified. Alternatively, we can make vitamin D from sun exposure. Currently, it is difficult to determine what kind of sun exposure is required to produce adequate vitamin D, as this depends on various factors like sun intensity, skin pigmentation, area of skin exposure, and duration of exposure. The current recommendation of exposure is 5 to 15 minutes under the afternoon sun with at least 20 to 30% body surface exposure for 2 to 3 times per week. However, studies have shown that this sun exposure may still be insufficient to raise vitamin D levels in deficient individuals. Another option is to take a vitamin D supplement of 400 international units in children and 600 to 1000 international units in adults daily. Okay, so in conclusion, while no single nutrient has been clearly shown to be beneficial to fight COVID infection, we need to eat well and if necessary, take supplements to ensure the nutrients are at optimal levels. All these nutrients work in synergy and together with maintaining a healthy body weight will give us the best chance to overcome COVID infection. Okay, that's all for this segment. Take care, stay safe, and continue to have a heart for kids.